Hello everyone, welcome you all for this episode of Startup Story series. My name is Guna, I'm a startup coach and the author of the book Startup Recipe. In this episode, we have a very special person, one of my good friend KVT Ramesh from Visakhapatnam, fondly known as KVT. And he have a rich experience of more than 22 years in various industries. He began in food industry, now he is into various industries like branding, he is into real estate, he is into IT, he is into education. He is also the national head for Business Network International Sri Lanka, where he is helping more than 500 entrepreneurs on how to grow their business. And also, because of his passion, he also started a global community for all the book readers outside. And it's a recent initiative from him, and that's called Pick a Book. And he is going to share his entrepreneurial experience in this video, which is going to help all of you to know what kind of challenges people had, what kind of challenges generally in an entrepreneurship journey have, what mistakes they did, what is their journey, etc. You will generally learn from all these startup story series. Same way, from today's episode also, you're going to learn a lot from KVT Ramesh episode, that is KVT Ramesh entrepreneurial journey in the last 22 years. So let me welcome today's guest for the episode. Welcome, Mr. KVT Ramesh, for this episode of Startup Stories.
Thank you so much, Guna. I'm so happy to be here, and I'm really proud to be part of this particular thing. Thank you so much. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you. So we are looking forward to learn a lot from your entrepreneurial journey. But first, what we wanted to know is this is something which I ask everyone who comes to this episode: how you become an entrepreneur? How did that happen? Because we were students, and then something happened, then we became an entrepreneur. That's how it all happened. Because a lot of people want to become an entrepreneur, but that journey is not starting it. They are always thinking about it. They are postponing it. They are hesitating. They have a lot of fear, etc. But you started 22 years before, and today you're successful. And I should say that you're into more than 8 to 10 things now, and you have got a lot of experience in all these in 22 years. So just tell me how you started, so that will be very useful for our viewers.
Wonderful. Thank you, Guna. In fact, it's so exciting to share how I started. In fact, maybe, like most of them, today, if you see, if you go to any of the smaller towns and all that, they have this typical feeling where people think like business is little dangerous. Somehow it is not secured. Don't get into business, get
Not
into a
in some
job. Why
place,
can't you look for it?
not in some place. Everyone thinks like that.
True. So I've come from the same background, where my family, especially my mom and dad, they always used to say, "Okay, David, you're not getting into business at any cost. You have to get into a job only." So that's the reason, they pushed me into a new territory. I should say that was the first time ever this course started in the graduation. So I have done this thing called biotechnology,
Okay.
that too with a combination of maths physics. Okay, maths physics biotechnology is a quite different combination. But then my somebody suggested my father, saying that if you ask your son to do this particular course, he can easily get the job. This is something new, so he can easily get. So with only that intention, they made me join there, and somehow I personally, I was always thinking of only business, nothing else. Right from my age, when I was in my 11th standard, 12th standard, I was thinking of what can I do, what best can we do, how can we get into business and things like that.
But what
But
made you think that I should become an entrepreneur in school days itself? Is there any incident, or what made you to think like that? Or you saw someone and you want to become like them or something?
yes, absolutely. See, that influence will always be there. I've seen people, as I was growing in my 10th standard and 11th standard, business people always had freedom of taking decisions,
Okay.
whether it is financial decision
Okay.
or maybe any decision on their children, either to make them join in some place or come along with them to any place. They don't have any permissions that they have to take from. But
Correct.
employees always had that. So this is one thing which always had in my mind, and I thought like I need to have my own freedom.
Okay.
My time should be with me. This is one thing which was there in my mind. I thought like I have to get into business.
Super.
But like how I said, though my mom said that not possible at all, But just to satisfy them, what I did was I got into a job which was a medical representative job for 3 months.
3 months.
And after 3 months,
Only for 3 months.
yeah, just 3 months. That's it. It was in the year 1998, and then because they pushed, I said that give me a time, I'll work for 3 months, and I worked for 3 months, and immediately I said, see, in 3 months' time, in that medical representative, the company that I worked with, I've actually showed a lot of good results, and especially sales side. So I told my mom, why should I work for somebody and showing that good result, and why can't I work on myself and then maybe for myself and start showing the same results to me? And
Okay.
then they said it is not possible. And I asked them, just give me 1 year time, I'll get into business. If I don't earn so much money, by the way, I had some figure, and I don't want to mention it here,
Okay. Okay.
but I had some figure. I said that if I don't have so much bank balance in 1 year at a time, I'll come back and I'll do whatever the job that you want me to get into.
That's a nice way of.
But fortunately, I started that.
Yeah.
Yeah, convincing them. That's one thing that easy for me to convince. But I said, because I was so confident that I can definitely do something. I
Right.
did that. Fortunately, I got into a business where the manufacturing unit of a soft drinks company. So that is something that I started. My uncle used to do it. I requested my uncle if I can take part of it and maybe make it big. So
Okay.
I got into that, and so fortunate, touchwood, that that has become a big success within no time. And then we started taking some distribution of fruity, and you have some FMC products. So those things I have taken, and even that was also successful. So within no time, we've started seeing money, and then even my parents have seen that money. And people who used to deal with me in the market, they used to come back and say that, hey, your son is really nice, and he's doing. He has all this business thing in him, and so with that they believed. Sometimes somehow for parents they need somebody else testimonial than you yourself saying that
Right.
I'm good. So
Okay.
that made them believe, and later I didn't have any setback. That's how I started my journey.
Okay, okay. So you started with that food industry and some food and beverage dealerships, etc. So you also had experience. You entered into different industries. Can you just quickly share about some one line about each industry you got into, and just explain, like, so that we can understand more about you?
Like how I said, I always used to think big. I want to do something really big. Somehow I believe in myself. I always used to believe in myself, saying, no, I'm not cut for small thing. Let me just do something big. So there was a limit for the amount of business that you can do in the town that I started my business. So I took help of my brother-in-law, and I said that I want to move to Hyderabad and then start something big. So by then, my brother-in-law was already into this branding company and all that. So I moved there and I joined him, and then I started the branding. So in corporate companies, that was the time around, a lot of new corporate companies started coming to Hyderabad.
Okay.
Before that, it was all Bangalore, but then only around that time, I'm talking about around 2000, 2002, 2001 time.
Okay.
So luckily, we got into that particular business at the right time.
Okay.
And then when we started that, obviously that clicked. So the software companies and IT and all these people, they were looking for some branding people,
Okay.
and it worked for me. So I got into that,
Okay.
and I started being there, and I spent good time, and good time with the clients also. Somehow my strength is always people management. So I worked well with my clients, and then we did very well in that business.
Okay.
After that, I've taken up this franchise called BNI to Visakhapatnam. So from Hyderabad, I joined as a member in Hyderabad, and then I came to know that there is this franchise available in Visakhapatnam.
Okay.
I took that and moved to Visakhapatnam. That was one of the most toughest decision I've taken, but it worked again.
Okay. Okay. So then you also got into Pick a Book now, and you are heading Sri Lanka Business Network International. Awesome. So the journey looks superb. Just starting from a 3 month employment and coming out of it, getting into entrepreneurship, and today you are into 8 to 10 different things. Superb. So you would have faced a lot of challenges in all these businesses when you entered, or in the first 3 months or 6 months. If you have to mention few challenges which will definitely be helpful for the viewers, can you just share?
No, first challenge that I would say is it's too much of pressure thinking about others. Initially, what I used to do, somehow I had this pressure that I have to be successful. There's no way that I cannot be successful, because if I fail, they'll ask me to go back to the job.
Work, work, okay.
But I think that pressure, that pressure is something you don't have to take. So that is something that I would really say that, because
Okay.
that pressure, I still remember how tough it was for me to go through.
Okay.
Otherwise, in fact, one has to enjoy what they're doing. That I couldn't do in that first few months, or maybe the first 1 year.
Okay.
Later, I realized once that 1 year phase is over, I started enjoying, and after I started enjoying, I got more better results.
Okay.
Pressure is something that you don't have to take, especially pressure of what will people think.
Okay.
That has to go out. So if that is gone out, and then I think you'll start enjoying also. That's the first challenge I faced.
Okay. Okay.
And the second challenge was moving from Hyderabad to Vishakhapatnam, where I had zero contacts in Vishakhapatnam. I didn't know anybody here.
Okay.
It was the biggest challenge that I had to face.
Okay.
But that challenge I faced with only one gut feeling that, yeah, I'll be successful. So,
Okay.
though there are a lot of people who said that maybe you're selecting a wrong territory, I don't think so. This is the right place for BNI and all that. But I said, I told to myself that let me just see that. That's another challenge I have to face, because not having any context, and then I have to talk to people and get them convinced about a new concept altogether. BNI was the biggest challenge. But the way that I've overcome that challenge is by following all the basics. The basics are, you keep talking to more number of people, and there will be few people who will trust you, and maybe who will get convinced with the concept, and then they'll join. That's how I trusted a basic concept, and it worked.
So you focus on the
I think those
numbers
two are
game,
the major.
and so you focus on the numbers game and it worked, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Super.
Principles of marketing, I should say.
So you in so many businesses you would have done some mistakes. Only then you could have gone to the next level and then reached the next level. So is there any few mistakes which you want to mention in your journey? Okay, these are some mistakes which you want to highlight. Maybe now, if I look back, I could have avoided that or something like in any one of the businesses or
Correct. Two things I can tell you. One, initially, when I was talking about my Hyderabad business, the branding business, I started talking to a lot of people, and then one by one, I've started getting new clients also in that business. Every year, or the first few years, the first 2 years, I used to get about 8 to 10 new customers, and they're all good. They're all big.
okay,
After I moved from almost like starting stage to around 3 crore turnover stage, somehow I got stuck. So I was thinking at that point of time, I'm doing pretty well. I don't really need to do something any bigger than this. I'm really good. So the earnings are good, and monthly income is
not
good, and
not
everything is
trying to add any customers, not efforts of marketing is not happening that time, is it?
exactly. So what I was is, but I should say that it is more like comfortable stage,
Okay,
and suddenly the complaisance that we talk about, that state has come. So that
okay,
was so dangerous for me. I didn't realize that until I attended one training session by Mahatria.
okay,
So I've attended that, and then I realized the fact of the human potential, and what you should actually look at any stage.
okay,
Even if you have achieved something really big that you think that you can never achieve, even then there is something bigger than that. So
okay,
that's what I learned, and from there I've done it. So the reason, if you are asking me, the reason why I'm thinking about that when you ask me, is because if I go back, I would say that 2 years actually I sat on that particular situation where I thought this is okay, I think we are doing that.
okay,
Maybe those 2 years could have been much bigger. I could have been much bigger in those 2 years. Of
okay,
course, that's how that's how you learn things.
correct, correct,
And second thing that I have to talk about is somehow not being able to ask people about, especially when it comes to negotiation part of it. I'm not talking in terms of getting a price reduced, but the money that people needs to pay, not asking them to pay that money back. So
okay,
this was a challenge that I faced. A lot of times I never used to ask clients to pay, though,
okay,
because I used to think maybe what will happen now. Suddenly, if I ask money, maybe they'll say no more business to you. And that fear of loss, I never used to ask money. There
Okay.
were times where few of my clients used to say, I think you have a lot of money, KVT, you never ask for payments.
Okay.
Then I used to realize, okay, my God, which means I am not asking, otherwise they would have given.
Okay.
When I realized that, and from there to now, I keep asking. Okay, I've learned that art of ask for 6 times if you have money to
Correct.
come from some of the
Correct.
clients. After realizing that, I understood. In fact, I've lost some money also, by the way. So I should admit this. I've lost some money from few of my clients only because I haven't asked at the right time. Most importantly, not about just asking them at right time. If
Okay.
they say that 25 days is the payment period, I should ask them at 25 days, which I didn't do. So there were times that I've lost money, but I realized and slowly, like how I said, it's all it's all
Learning.
experience. So
Learning.
after I realized, and from there to now, if you see, I think I'm much better now. I can ask anybody and everybody where if they're supposed to pay me something, I just ask them, boss, I think this is what you need to pay. That's a big learning because it's not just about earning. Asking your money is also very, very important. It's not
Okay.
just giving services or supplying product is not the only thing that businessman should do. You should
Super.
ask for payment.
You shared amazing lessons through your mistakes. Now, like, don't be in any, don't go to comfort zone even if you achieve something big, and don't forget to follow money when it is time. So I think that's super takeaway for people who are watching this interview. And now I also want you to share few suggestions or tips for people who want to start a business, because as you know, to bring back the economy and to develop our own nation, we need more entrepreneurs so that more jobs are created. So my vision is to create a lot of entrepreneurs. I'm planning to create 10,000 entrepreneurs and 1 million jobs by the end of 2030. That's my vision, and that's this. The interview is a part of that. So for people who are watching this, if they have to start a business, what will be your tip or suggestion from your 22 years experience?
Yes, yes. Thank you for asking that. I would tell anybody and everybody should get into business, not jobs at all, because business has a lot of freedom. Okay, business has something to explore where you can express your ability because you have an ability and you can express that ability and you don't know what is the limit. You don't have any limit to it. You can grow to that thing. So that's the reason why we have to select business as a kind of career. And second thing is when we are selecting, of course, either business or job, anything, you have to leave one very, very important thing called what will people think. So that thing should go out of your mind, and only then you will be super successful in your business. In most cases, people don't come into businesses because of that.
Correct.
They'll think, okay, I don't know how successful I'll be, or no, I don't know what's going to happen to my future. What will people think? So now, what will they think? What will happen to my credibility and things like that? That is not required at all. Not that whatever you do, people will not say great about you. There are people who will definitely say that it's still something wrong about you. You never know. So let's forget about what people think. Jump onto it, and you'll see success definitely. The third thing is this is the last thing that I would say. Anybody and everybody should think really, really big in their life. This is one thing that I've learned in my life. You have to think big at any given point of time in your life. Never think anything small because your potential as a person is something way beyond what you think that you can do. So explore that. So think big. You will see bigger success in your life. That's something that I would like to say.
Thank
Share.
you. In this short interview, you've given some amazing takeaways and lessons for people. And before we close this interview, I would like to ask you about your recent initiative, Pick a Book. So a lot of people watching here are going to get into business. So how Pick a Book can help them? Can you share a little bit about how it can add value to them?
Absolutely. See, one thing that I've learned in my life is when you want to grow, either you have to listen to somebody or you need to have a coach, or the best way of growing your knowledge is by reading books. I was never a reader, but almost like 7.5 years back, I started reading. And today I can say that I'm a very good reader. And I've actually trained directors and members in BNI across 14 different countries. So I'm maybe I am considered as a good trainer. The only reason I would think is because of my book reading, the knowledge that I have. So all these things, when I see a lot of people, when they come to me and ask me, okay, how do we do it? What do we do it? I always suggest them, okay, read this book, read this book.
Okay.
And people come back and say that KVT, it is very tough to read books. So that is when this particular idea of this
Okay.
PK book started.
Okay.
So then I thought, like, it's a model that we have to think. The reason why I thought of it as a business is because anything you want to scale it big, there need to be something of some financial factor to it. Otherwise, it's not easy to scale.
Correct.
So that's how I started. I should say it is a kind of social entrepreneurship. So I've come up with a passion that everybody should get into book reading, and that's how Pick a Book has started. So Pick a Book is basically a community of people who will read books and understand more about that book and present books to the rest of the members, so that they will develop the interest in book reading and also develop themselves as book readers, because their knowledge will grow, and also they'll share their knowledge with others, so they'll inspire people. That's the whole idea behind it.
Super. That's an awesome initiative because learners are always going to be winners and they are going to come up in life. So no doubt about that. And you're going to be an instrumental in making people read more books from now on. So thank you for that initiative. And also thank you very much for coming for this interview. In the short interview, you added a lot of value to all the aspiring entrepreneurs who are watching this video. So thank you very much for coming for this interview of Startup Stories episode.
Thank you, Guna. Thank you. It's my pleasure, actually. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank
To
you.
all the viewers, I hope you got some amazing insights from KVT Ramesh, 22 years of entrepreneurial journey. So please share this video with a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs so that they can also learn from his journey and they can also start their own business. So I will come with one more successful entrepreneur with their entrepreneurial journey with more lessons and more tips. I will soon meet you. So thank you very much for watching this episode. See you in my next Startup Stories series episode. Thank you.